Midnight Moon. Written by Suzana Thompson. Narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 19. Later that day, I found out that Taylor had also decided to continue dating Bryce. He's just so sweet, and I like him a lot, she admitted. I know, I said, and he likes you a lot too. I can tell by the way he looks at you. Taylor blushed at that. Really? Yeah, I confirmed. He has this sort of dreamy look on his face when he sees you. It's really sweet. Yeah, he is, she agreed. I finally told him about why I didn't think we should see each other anymore, and he told me not to worry about that. He said that what happened with Kristen made him change his mind, and that he would never ask me to become a werewolf. We could speak candidly, because we were alone at Taylor's house after school. Both of us had set aside our reservations and doubts to date werewolves. When I thought of it that way, it sounded fantastical. But they were both also teenage boys in high school rather than mythical creatures of lore. Taylor and I were approaching the situation from that side of it. And in that regard, it was like dating anyone else. We were focused on the social aspects of dating and romance. Yet my worry about the wild side of Damien that Kristen had alluded to hadn't ceased. I'd just been able to push it to the back of my mind for the time being. Since we were starting anew with dating, that wouldn't be a concern for a while. Right now, I just wanted us to be like any other couple going on their first date. Taylor was delighted to hear how Damien had brought me 2 bouquets of flowers and serenaded me in front of my parents. Oh my goodness, that is the most romantic thing I've ever heard. It was pretty sweet, I agreed. How could any girl say no after that? She remarked. I thought about it, I said. After everything that's happened, nothing sounds more appealing than spending the rest of senior year studying and lounging in front of the TV. I swear I'll never, ever complain about being bored ever again. But all of that's over now, Taylor reassured me. The problem has been taken care of. Bryce says that she hasn't changed back. It's strange to think of her staying like that, I commented. That she's not going to be Kristen anymore. Like, ever. Taylor's expression turned pensive when I mentioned her name. Yeah. I'm sorry, I told her. I know you probably just want to forget that she ever existed. It doesn't really bother me, she said. All of that happened before I knew him. It's just remembering when she turned into a wolf, seeing it happen. I was much more troubled by the things she'd said, but I didn't confide that to Taylor. You won't have to see anything like that again. Just stay home when there's a full moon and you won't have to deal with it. Yeah, you're right, she agreed. That'll be separate from our relationship. Just something that it's 1 night a month, I reminded her when she trailed off again. That's nothing. Nothing, she repeated incredulously. It's something, I amended. But he's only a wolf a short time out of the month. He's a person most of the time. And that's why you and Damien are perfect for each other, she exclaimed. Nobody else would be able to accept this so easily. Just a couple of months ago, you were laughing at me for even suggesting that werewolves could be real. Her statement startled me. Had it really been only a couple of months? All of that had happened in that short of a time? To me, it seemed like ages since my life had been normal. I'd nearly forgotten that I used to consider the existence of werewolves preposterous. Now they were part of my reality, and it didn't seem so remarkable anymore. I was more concerned with Damien's male hormones than with him turning into a wolf. Dealing with the wolf had actually been easier than dealing with the guy. Taylor was right that showing me his romantic side had convinced me to give Damien another chance. If he could remain that sweet and affectionate, then I would really miss out on something special if I didn't go out with him. I'm glad you forgave him, she declared. He's still on probation, I said. We're starting over, like this is our first date. Which it technically is since it got interrupted the first time, Taylor stated. Oh, she sighed. That's when he took all those teddy bears to Daphne. So sweet. Okay, we are using that word way too much in connection with Damien, I remarked. But he is sweet, she insisted. I had to agree with that sentiment when Damien surprised me on my birthday. We finally had the first date he had promised me when he first asked me out. It was a casual dinner at an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I understood why Damien had taken me there when I saw how much he ate. Despite it not being the romantic scenario I had envisioned, we at least made it to the restaurant this time.
I figured I owed you unlimited food since you didn't get to eat last time,
He explained. The low-key setting actually eliminated my nervousness about the date. It hardly even seemed like a date in that extremely casual atmosphere. There was no pressure to make conversation while we waited for our food to be served, because we stood in line at the buffet to serve ourselves. I had no qualms about eating in front of Damien as I watched him dig into several plates of food. "Why do you pick that Soul Man song?" I asked him, curious to know why he hadn't chosen a currently popular song.
My dad's been singing that to my mom ever since I was little, so I know the words by heart,
He answered.
I think there's some story behind it they've never told us, because it still makes her blush sometimes.
My parents have secret things like that too, I told him.
All couples do,
He said, and looked at me in a way that flustered me for the first time since we'd arrived at the restaurant. Since I already knew so much about him, I searched for a new topic of conversation. "What are you planning to do after high school?"
I've been thinking about moving to Alaska,
he replied. I scrutinized his face to see if he was serious. "What are you going to do in Alaska? Have you ever been there?"
No, I haven't, but I'm looking into going to college there,
he told me. I'd never heard anyone express a desire to go to college in Alaska. "Is that where you've always wanted to go?"
No,
he admitted.
I was looking forward to going to college parties more than actually going to college, but that's not my thing anymore. Alaska just seems perfect now with all that untamed land.
His use of the word untamed didn't escape my notice. "I hate the cold," I remarked.
I did too, but now it's not so bad.
We shared a secret look, unable to talk in public about why the cold didn't bother him anymore. "But what are you going to study?" I asked.
That's what's so cool about it,
He said excitedly.
They actually have a course called Outdoor Studies, and they take you out and teach you to be a wilderness first responder who can rescue people that are lost or hurt out in the wild.
It made sense that he would be interested in the type of work that would allow him to run free when he was the wolf. But Alaska was so far away. A lot of states have national parks like that where you can do that kind of work.
Yeah, but Alaska seems so
Untamed. I supplied the word he had used earlier. Now he was the one to drop his gaze to his plate.
It's just something I'm looking into. I haven't decided anything yet. So, what about you? What do you want to do after high school?
Go to college, I answered automatically. But I'm not sure yet what I want to study. My dad's been on my case about it.
You'll figure it out,
He assured me.
You've still got time to decide your major. But where do you want to go to college?
I was thinking right here in Ohio. There seemed to be no reason for me to go out of state.
Oh,
He said, sounding disappointed.
so how about some dessert?
He urged in a more enthusiastic tone. "Are you kidding? I'm stuffed," I declared. "I can't believe you're not too full to eat dessert,"
You're not too full for ice cream,
he said.
There's always room for ice cream.
Despite my protestations, he dragged me over to the ice cream machine.
Do you want chocolate or vanilla?
He picked up an empty bowl and looked at me expectantly. "Chocolate, I guess," I replied. "But don't put too much. I'm really not hungry,"
Don't worry, I'll finish what you don't.
he told me, and proceeded to fill the bowl. I left mine plain, but Damien topped his with sprinkles.
I wish they had hot fudge.
I laughed at the wistful little kid expression on his face. We'll go somewhere where they have hot fudge next time.
I was hoping you'd say that.
He grinned. If there's a next time, I amended playfully.
You know you can't resist me.
He swaggered. Then his expression changed from confident to uncomfortable.
I mean, look at this place. Royalty doesn't have it this good,
He joked.
What more could anyone want?
Hot fudge, apparently, I teased, trying to make him feel at ease again. Eating ice cream restored his childish delight in enjoying his dessert. The cold, sweet taste of it in our mouths heightened the happy but unromantic atmosphere between us. It was nothing like Taylor's perfect first date with Bryce, but I realized that a date like that would have been overwhelming for us. This casual approach helped us to breach the barriers that circumstances had erected between us.
Are you going anywhere for Christmas?
Damien asked as he drove me home. No, we always have it at our house, I told him.
We do too,
He said. I assumed that we weren't giving presents to each other since we'd only just started dating, so I asked him what he got for his sisters. He complained that he hated shopping and said that he was giving them gift cards to buy what they wanted. That's no fun, I chided him. I'd love to have sisters to shop for.
Good. Then you can help me shop for them next year,
He stated. His words thrilled me, but I responded cautiously. We'll both be in college next year.
Yeah, we will,
Was all he said. He hugged me goodnight instead of kissing me.
Was that okay?
I wasn't sure if he was asking about the hug or the date. Yeah, it was nice.
Does that mean you'll be my girlfriend?
Damien questioned. It means that we can go on more dates, I answered carefully.
Okay, good.
He took my hand and gave it a gentle squeeze before letting go.
I'll call you tomorrow.
I liked that he had abided by my wishes to start over like we hadn't ever kissed before, although I had expected him to kiss me goodnight at the end of our date. He had really reined in his aggressive side. No, not reined in. I wasn't going to think in those terms. He was just being respectful and taking things slowly this time. It was nice to spend time with him and not have to worry about anything. Despite his odd choice of a buffet restaurant for our date, we'd had a pleasant time. Our next date was even more uneventful because we spent it on my couch watching a movie with my parents. This time, Damien kissed me on the cheek before leaving. Maybe he's cheap, Taylor remarked. Taylor, I admonished her. I'm sorry, Clarissa, but he could have at least taken you out to a movie, she said. Maybe he's broke after buying Christmas presents, I defended him. Then he needs to get a job, she sniped. Not everyone has an inheritance like Bryce, I retorted. I'm sorry, she apologized. I'm just frustrated because Bryce won't kiss me. Damien hasn't kissed me either, I said. That's probably your fault, she told me. You probably confused him with this whole starting over thing, and now he thinks you want to be just friends. Maybe that's why he's not putting any effort into your dates. He thinks you're just hanging out. Thanks, I laughed. Boy, you really are frustrated. He says it's too close to the full moon, she complained. And he doesn't want to lose control like he did last time, but he didn't lose control. He just kissed me passionately. Like, really, really passionately. It was great. She ended with a sigh. The full moon will be over in a week and he'll kiss you again, I assured her. But what if it's not as good then? After my initial shock, I began to laugh. Did you hear what you just said? I'm serious, Clarissa. What if the full moon is what brings that out in him? Maybe it won't be as good after it's over. And what if that's the only time he wants to kiss me? Taylor asked. I'm sure you bring it out in him, I told her. That's probably why he wants to take it slow and not rush you. Just give him a chance and see how it goes. Well, I said yes to prom, so he already asked you to prom? I cut in. Yeah, so you better get your signal straight with Damien. I'll be really upset if he doesn't take you to prom, she declared. It's not even Christmas yet, I exclaimed. Prom is months away.
I've been looking up prom dresses ever since I started high school,
she informed me. That's your mental problem, not mine, I said. She ignored my rude comment.
I'm taking you out for your birthday the day after Christmas.
You just want to shop the sales, I remarked.
We can hit them all after lunch,
she confirmed. Okay, I agreed, laughingly. I reveled in Christmas vacation even more than usual, because this year it meant more than just a break from school. It was a wonderful relief not having to fear for my friends and myself anymore. All the stress of the recent ordeal with Kristen and with Daphne's illness had drained away as I enjoyed the peaceful time at home. Cleaning the house and helping my parents prepare the Christmas meal for our guests wasn't a burden to me this year. I didn't have a single complaint about anything, and I didn't mind doing these chores on my birthday. Several family members had arrived when I answered the door to see Damien on my doorstep. He was dressed in a suit and holding a vase of tulips in an array of colors.
Happy birthday, Clarissa.
I simply gaped at him in astonishment.
You said that you like tulips,
he reminded me. Oh my goodness, Mom exclaimed. Is that your carriage with the horses? Damien thrust the flowers toward her.
It's for Clarissa's birthday. I know it's Christmas, but could she go for a ride in the carriage with me?
Hurry and get your coat, Clarissa, Mom urged me. He's paying by the half hour for the carriage.
I booked it for an hour,
he explained.
And I planned a dinner for her at my house afterwards, if you don't mind. I'm sorry I didn't give you any notice, but I wanted it to be a surprise.
That's lovely, Mom assured him. Get your coat, she prompted me. Dad had his camera ready when I returned wearing my coat and gloves. A crowd of my relatives had gathered outside by the carriage, but they moved out of the way so Dad could take pictures of me and Damien. Several of them also took pictures with their phones. Where's your coat, Damien? Mom fretted.
I have a blanket in the carriage, he told her.
The driver helped me into the carriage, and Damien got in beside me. I waved to my family as the horses began to pull the carriage down the street. Damien settled the warm blanket over our laps, and we gazed at the Christmas lights we passed in the neighborhood. How did you know it was my birthday? I asked.
I saw it on the calendar in your kitchen,
he answered. But you haven't been over my house this month, I said.
I skimmed through it that day I brought over the steaks, he admitted. I figured your mom might have your birthday marked on the calendar, but I didn't expect it to be on Christmas. I bet nobody does anything special for you on your birthday.
Until now, I confirmed. Thank you, Damien. This is amazing.
Happy birthday,
he repeated with a smile. I cozied up against him, and he put his arm around me as the horses trotted down the streets and into the park, away from all the electric lights, with moonlight illuminating the snow blanketing the expanse on either side of the road. It felt like we had been transported back in time.
It would be like this in Alaska,
Damien stated quietly beside me.
If you came with me.
The effect was nearly hypnotic, ensconced in the warmth with him even while the chill of winter was all around us, his voice speaking evenly and softly, while the horses' hooves clip-clopped down the silent road. It was almost enough to convince me to go with him to Alaska. I'm so happy right now, I told him, without responding to his comment. He kissed me then, a gentle, tender kiss on the lips that left an unfamiliar ache in my heart.